Okay guys, so I've decided to do a video about the spreadsheet that I use to organize my cards. And the reason I think having your own spreadsheet is so important is because at the end of the day, if you use any type of online database, whether it's Beckett Organize or Zissel or Trading Card Database or any of them, they are all subject to someone else owning your data. And so to me, I always have my own spreadsheet. I really like creating the spreadsheets and looking at them. So I'm going to show this to you. The angle's kind of weird. I can't get it straight on and make it to where I can work on the computer. So you'll just have to deal with it the way it is. But I'm going to show you a few things here. So it's appropriately named Mike's baseball card collection. And I have down at the bottom down here a whole bunch of different tabs that have the different parts of my PC, and there's a whole lot of them. I'll just keep scrolling until I get to the end. I have some extra weird stuff on here, but mainly it's cards. So back in when I first started PCing Player Collector, it was Juan Gonzalez was my guy. So I have a list of Juan Gonzalez cards that exist, and I literally have on the database at the time there were close to 5,000 cards. And I had almost 4,000 of them, so I would track that. I did the same thing with Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez. I went through 2013 and really not even all of 2013, and I kind of weirdly slowed down on that. But I literally have every card on here. And I have the columns are the year, the description of the card, so maker, and if there's a parallel or anything like that, it would be there. I have the card number. If it's a game used or an autograph card, I'd put it there. The print run, how many I have, and how many dupes I might have over here. So those are the different columns that I use for the player collector side of it. That's really all you need to know, I think, for a player collector: year, card type or description, the number, is it a relic card, an autograph card, print run, and how many you own. So I highlight those if I have them, just so I can quickly scan through the database and see it. And you see there's a lot of open spaces. And you get these lists. So you say, well, where do I get how many cards such whatever player I'm looking for has? And that takes some time. You're going to have to go to, usually Beckett will be a place that you'll get some of that information. You can pull up a year and a player name and it'll list all the cards that exist, except that it doesn't. There are a lot of cards that aren't on the Beckett list that you'll find as a player collector, and I just hand put those in over the years as I found them and discovered them. If it was a weird variation or something that wasn't cataloged on Beckett, just add it yourself, and it's very easy to do that. So at the time I had close to 4,000 Ivan Rodriguez cards. I have way more than that now, but I don't really pursue that as a current collection. And so then I also tracked, I had so many different memorabilia cards or relic cards of Pudge that I just made a separate list just to say, all right, how many bat cards do I have? Well, I had 91. Or how many bat jersey combo cards did I have? 22. So there was or I still do, I haven't sold any of them, almost 600 autograph and relic cards, which is certainly over 600 now since I stopped paying attention to that. I did a similar player list for Josh Hamilton. So these are Josh Hamilton cards. And again, year, description, card number, was it relic or auto, print run, quantity of how many dupes. And on this one I started keeping some of the cost information as I was buying cards. I think it was more just to have an idea, but it didn't really matter. I was just curious, and you can see here I stopped that pretty much in 2014 collecting him, but at the time I had put in almost $14,000 of cost, and that's with a whole lot of cards having no cost on them. So it was a lot that I had invested in Josh Hamilton, all of which I still own. I haven't gotten rid of any of those. And then I would break down by year. This is always fun to see how close you are to having completed a player collection. So each year that there were cards, I did this through 2013. How many cards were made? How many do I have? That, and then you calculate what percentage that is. And then I would always want to know if you took the one of ones away, because most player collectors say, look, at the end of the day, I'd love all the one of ones, but it's not realistic. So if I said, how many cards do I have if I take the one of ones out of the picture? Like in 1999 here, there were no one of ones, so those percentages all stay the same. But in 2012, for example, of the 616 cards made for Josh Hamilton, 202 of them were one of ones, for crying out loud. So that's a lot of one of ones. I had 30 of them, which sounds like a lot, but it's less than 15% of those. And so, but if you take out the one of ones, you can feel a lot better about your percentage completion. You know, I had 65% of the Josh Hamilton cards. I didn't start collecting Hamilton until 2008, so I was pretty far behind the power curve when I started. So that's pretty much how you do a player collection. I did the same thing with Michael Young, although not nearly as in great a detail. I copied and pasted some stuff over to get it rolling. I do have then I have a master list of all of my one of ones, which currently I have 282 of them, which are all sorts of different things. These are sorted by the year, so I have I'll go all the way to the top. So I have the player name, whoever's on that one of one, the year that it was made, what set is it from, kind of a description of the set, the card number, and if it's also a game used relic or patch card or autograph card or something like that. And then some of them are graded, so I would put the grade. It's really important when you're dealing with these spreadsheets being this big and long that you freeze that top row like I've done here. That really helps it when you scroll down. You're not going, well, what column is this again? Is that where the name is or the year or whatever? So I'm just scrolling down through these one of ones. I have a ton of printing plates, like just so many that I can't even stack them all in one box. I'm overflowing in my one of ones. So that's another way to catalog something. I have complete sets. So here you've got the year, the set name, and how many cards are in that set. So in this case, it's I have one Bowman set, 1989. The yellow for me means that I've put it on Zissel, which is a trading card database. So that means I put it on there. If I haven't, if it's not highlighted, it just means I haven't gotten around to putting it on there yet. So here's all the different complete sets that I have, which would include even little subsets like Donruss Hall of Fame Heroes from 1983, a little 44 card subset, or Drake's. I love the old Drake's cards, by the way. They're really great. So that's how you do. I just list, they're just literally in alphabetical order. So it's alphabetical order first, then by year, and then the number of cards. So I have 63,000 cards just represented in complete sets that are sitting in my closet. Then I have my top 300 list. This list obviously comes from the book by Mike Payne. You've seen, I have several videos literally just on this set, and it just lists these 300 cards, and I've kind of taken it and did it myself to where I have the year, the description, what player is there or players, the card number, and then I really want them in PSA. So if it's PSA graded for me, I have the grade here, obviously how many I have. It seems silly to put quantity sometimes because, well, I have one, right? Well, the reason I do that is because at the bottom, down here where I have my totals, then that's what adds it up so that I know, because it's a skipped, I don't have every line, so I can't just say how many I have unless I have something that tells me a quantity that can add and create a formula down here. So right now I have 205 out of the 300 cards. It's 68%, so a little over 2/3. Again, my first goal was to get all the post 1960. So I have 94, almost 94% of those. Pre-1960 is great, but those are really expensive, rare stuff. I got 43% of that. So there you go. Year, description, what players, etc. are here. I do keep track of, I kind of go through and look at different grades. I'll go up here to some of them that I don't have. So I need a 1967 Topps Tom Seaver. It's not highlighted. I need one of those. Well, a PSA 4 goes for around $400. And I do that so when I'm kind of searching, I can at least have some type of idea, if I just look at my spreadsheet, of what I need to be looking for cost-wise. And so if I saw one for $300, a PSA 4, I'd be really interested in that card and wondering, okay, what's wrong with it? Why is it so cheap? So that's why that's pretty handy. Okay, autographs. If you're an autograph collector, then you need something to catalog your autographs with. And it's different because it's not like there's not a database for it. You have to create your own. And so I have the player's name here, or really it's not just players. Happy Chandler's a commissioner. So it's really just baseball, people. And so I have their name here. This is a total column, how many autographs I have of that person. If it's on a card, like a baseball card, or a 3x5 card, or government postcard, it goes in this column. If I have an autographed jersey of that person, a ball, 8x10, a book, bat, and then kind of either a lithograph or a multi-sign piece. Those are all listed here. And you'll have you can make different categories depending on what you have. So again, these are in alphabetical order by first name, which is kind of different. You can make it however you want. Last name, first name, whatever you want to do. I did this one first name, last name here, just because I have it the other way on others. But all the highlighted names here under the name column are Hall of Famers. So you kind of add them all up. You get to the bottom and you have totals and stuff. And I'll scroll quickly down to that. So I right now have 2,234 baseball autographs by a little over 470 different people. So that's a lot. Between Hall of Famers and non-Hall of Famers, it's a lot. So then I have just Hall of Famers. So I have created my own spreadsheet just to track the Hall of Famers, and I broke them down into players post 1920. So these would be kind of the more readily available, more likely that you could get them players. And so I have post 1920 here. If I have an autograph, it get a 1 in that column, and then if I have any extras of that player, I have some like Lou Badreau, I have 21 extras. But Mickey Cochran, I only have 1 extra, so I have 2 total. Eddie Collins, I only have 1 of. I don't have any extras. So I kind of get down to the bottom of the pre-1920, and I have 161 of those. And that means I have 90 out of the 163 that exist. So I only need, that can't be right, because there's more than 163. Let's see. I can fix this right. Let me show you how I fix it. So I kind of add all this up, and there's 168 listed here. So obviously I haven't included some of the newer players. So I need to go to my percentage and change this from 163 to 168. And that will lower the percentage that I have. And there you go. So I have 95% of those. So I need 7. Then I have players pre-1920. I have managers. So pre-1920 I only have 19%, not very many. Managers I have 77%. I'm still missing a few of those. Then I have the guys that were predominantly in the Negro Leagues as their own list. I only have 7 of those, which is 20%. You have guys that went in on the executive deal. And so when a new person gets elected to the Hall of Fame, like here's Bud Selig, you just insert a new row and put in Bug City League. No big deal. But I have 60% of the executives, and then I have the umpires, and I have 60% of them. So grand total, I have 219 unique Hall of Famer autographs, which is almost 70%. I have 1,412 extras, so I have a total of 1,631 Hall of Famer autographs. Then over here on the details, I put what is everything, because I have 1,600 and something. I got to keep track of them somehow, and so I have the last name, the first name, what type of item is it? Is it a program? Is it a baseball card? An 8x10? A 3x5? Some description if it needs it. What, like today I got a Bobby Cox card. It was a 2003 Upper Deck Yankees Signature Series. It's not, there's no print run on it. If it did, I'd put the print run here. Is it slabbed or authenticated? Yes, no. If it is, it goes over here. And then if it has an auto grade, that goes here. And I have quite a few with auto grades. There's just so many, I'm not going to bore you. And then sometimes on the notes, I'll put where I got it. So, for example, I got this Tom Yawkey at Huggins and Scott from the Huggins and Scott auctions. Okay, so, and then every once in a while I'll sort it. So, kind of right here is the newest stuff that I've gotten. Ron Santo, Jeff Bagwell, and so literally if I want to sort it, I go, if I want these guys to all kind of go up into their alphabetical position, I go to sort and filter, I custom sort. That my custom sort is already there, and so I hit OK, and now my last autos down here should be Robin Yount. So there it is. So all those extras that were down here have now been put up into their proper place. I also have, again, a list of Hall of Famers that I have, and what that helps me create then is who I still need. So I've created this list of the player name. Are they a player, an executive, an umpire, a Negro Leaguer, whatever, kind of what they are. And then I kind of have a little bit of what it might cost me to get them. So again, similar to my top 300 list, it's like, what can I expect to pay? If I find a better deal than that, I need to be kind of looking out for it. And so there's a list of those guys. And then I have this list called Impossible to Get. And what that means is that through different resources that I've researched, these guys are scarce at best, impossible at worst. And so I just don't even consider them as I need to get these guys. And there are, let's see how many. How many is that? 43. So I really don't even consider these as attainable. I don't include them on my I need to get these autographs. So really that my needs are this smaller group right here is still needed, which are at least potentially possible, which is cool. Then I have a list of, all my graded ones, graded Hall of Famer autographs. I have the cert number from PSA. All this is on my registry too when I pull up PSA, but I need it for me. I don't want to have to go to all these different resources. I can literally cut and paste that information or export it from the set registry and get it on here. So here it is. Cert number, item number, description, grade. There are times when I have multiple graded items for a player, like I have several Hank Aaron's, and what I do is I just put whichever one has the best grade, the top grade. If I have extras, they just are on my PSA set registry. I don't document them separately here, although they are under my Hall of Fame Auto Details tab over here. All right, Hall of Fame Game Used, another PC of mine. So over here I've got the name of the Hall of Famer, again, if they're a player manager. So a lot of this is copy and paste stuff from other databases that I've already created. I have a card list of, or whatever card represents the game used card for that player. If it has a print run, and then what type of game used item is it, if it's listed on the back of the card. If it says it specifically, I'll put it in here. And at the bottom, really, I don't, of players that, of Hall of Famers that have game used items, there's only 9 that I still need, of which, like Ernie Lombardi, I have on the way. So typically, what I'll do, like I bought a Ernie Lombardi on eBay. So I'll highlight that one just so if I'm kind of searching, I don't go accidentally buy a new Ernie Lombardi and like, oh crud, I already have that guy. And then the pink ones here are Hall of Famers that don't have any type of game used card. So they're basically, they don't exist. And so I don't include them in, you know, if you didn't segregate this, you'd be like, why can't I ever find a, you know, whatever player has an autograph or relic card. So that's how you do that. And the way I found that was on Beckett. You can type in a player's name or a person's name, and it'll tell you if there's any autographed or game used cards of that game used relic cards of that person. So, and then I have another subset of Prez Steel Autos, and I list those and what grade they are, if they're slabbed or not. This is a pretty cool collection. I have the MVPs and Cy Youngs for every year, including 2016. And what I'm doing is tracking if I have an autograph of that player. Like, for example, I don't have a Rick Porcello or a Corey Kluber, both of which are cheap, but I don't have a Lincecum or a PV, a CC Sabathia. But if you look at the MVPs were my main focus at first, and I said, let's look at the Cy Youngs and kind of see how many I can get pretty cheap. But the MVPs was my first idea. And if you go, I'll scroll down here, from 1966 to 2016, so 50 years, I am only missing one Hall of Famer autograph, and that's Thurman Munson, who is really hard to find. Not hard to find, he's just really expensive, I should say. And there are some of these older guys that I don't have a Maris as an example, but I have a DiMaggio, I have a Greenberg, I have Jimmy Fox, I have Lou Gehrig. I don't have a Ruth, he's on here. There's Babe Ruth. I don't have a Walter Johnson yet, but I have a Cobb, Eddie Collins, Tris Speaker. So I have quite a few. In fact, so then I made a separate list over here just to kind of track every player that's Hall of Famer. They're just in alphabetical by first name, and it has a 1 next to them if I have it. And I can go down at the bottom, and 128 of the 149 players that have won an MVP I have, which is close to 86%. Moving on quickly. I told you guys this was a really big spreadsheet. I'm at 23 minutes already. So you may need to break this video up and watch it in sections. But check this out. 2001 Fleer Greats of the Game autographs. Again, if I own it, is it a short print? What price can I expect to pay for an Ernie Banks? Well, it's around $100 if I can find one, because I'm trying to do that set. Then I have all my Panini Immaculate sets. I did a video earlier about my 2016 Immaculate Marks set. You can see it's all green because I have all the cards. I'm now tracking the reds and trying to find those, the red subset. Over here are 2014 Accolades Materials and 2015 Accolades Materials game used sets. I have the player, the print run, and then I put what it cost me. Just because I really, since it was such a small thing, I could track it pretty quickly and easily. So I spent $835 on these 25 cards, which was an average of $33 a card. The next year was more expensive because there were some different players. Excuse me. It was around $40 a card, almost $1,000 I paid for that one. And then on the Mark set, which is ironic, it's only these are all autographs, and these 24 cards only cost me $682, around $30 a card. So it cost me less for the autograph set than it did for either of the simply game used material set, which is fascinating to me. I would have never thought that. Another set I'm trying to get in graded PSA graded format is the 1983 Donruss Hall of Fame Heroes. There are 25 players that you could have on this that would have autograph cards because everybody else in the set was dead. And so I'm tracking if I have those or not. I was born in 1973, so I thought, man, I'm going to get every Hall of Famer. One of my PSA set registries is all of the Hall of Famers from 1973 tops in PSA slabs for my kind of birth year set. How cool would that be? And there's a bunch of them. There's 45. Well, I have 45. There's 49 different Hall of Famers if you include manager cards like Eddie Matthews, Red Schoendeist. Actually, on Walter Alston's manager card, Tommy Lasorda is a coach. So that's another Hall of Famer. So you kind of 2 for 1. And I'm tracking what I paid for those just for fun. I used to do letter cards, and I did Ranger Ginter cards for different years. All sorts of stuff. Let me see. That's pretty much all the big ones. I do track which ballparks I visited, so that's another kind of thing that I have on this spreadsheet just because there's nowhere else to keep it. I've been to every ballpark but 5, so I need to go to see the Tigers, A's, Pirates, Mariners, and Rays. That's it. Been to every other ballpark that's currently out there. Other than Atlanta, I guess I'll have to put Atlanta back on this list this year. So that's how I do my spreadsheet. Again, I know, guys, it's a long video. There's just a lot to show and a lot of different ways to do this. So I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please put a message down below and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much. Have a good one.